Hello everyone, my name is Zach and welcome to On Cash Flow, where I help you become a master of your own cash flow. Now let's get started. So the mainstream advice that you're gonna see out there for how much money you're gonna need once you retire is about 80% of what your income is now. So if you make $100,000 now, then the estimate, like the general advice is gonna be that you're gonna need about $80,000 per year in retirement. So 80% of what you were making before. However, I think that if you're looking to retire early, if you're looking for financial independence, if you just kind of like have that mindset and you're not like the traditional route, then I think it's actually going to be a lot less than what you might think, what kind of income that you're going to require compared to what your income is now. And here are a few really good reasons why I think that you need a lot less than what you originally might think, especially according to like mainstream advice. Well, first off, you're no longer saving for retirement. So before, you probably had a large percentage of your income going towards your savings because you were saving for early retirement. You were saving for financial independence, but now you don't need to do that anymore once you reach financial independence. So for example, many people in the financial independence community are saving 30, 40, 50, 60% of their income. If you're making, let's say $80,000 per year and you're saving about 40% of that, that should be saving about $32,000 per year. So right off the bat there, if you subtract the $80,000 from the $32,000 that you are saving, that leaves you with $48,000 of spending. So that is substantially less than what the 80%, general advice would give you. In fact, if it's 40% that you're saving, that means that you're spending the other 60%. So that would be 60% of your pre-tax income. But it goes further than that. There are many reasons why your actual spending in retirement might be even well below this number. And that's why we have reason number 2. And that is, once you stop working, your work expenses are going to go to zero. Who would have thought? So this is something that's often overlooked, but your work expenses can actually be quite expensive depending on what kind of profession you have. Probably one of the most common and probably the biggest expense that is work related that most of us have when we're working is gonna be our commuting expense. Okay, and that just depends on how far your commute is, how long your commute is, and things like that. So it actually is pretty expensive to commute, especially if you're commuting like 5 days per week. So that is one of the main expenses, but there are some other ones. More often than not, you're probably going to be eating out a few times per week if you are going to work 5 days per week. It just happens. Even if you are pretty good at bringing your own lunch, there are going to be times when you're going to have, that social pressure to go out and eat, and it's no problem. That's a great thing to do. But those are work-related expenses. You probably wouldn't have that expense if you weren't working 5 days per week. Another one might be clothing costs. So you probably have some clothing that you buy specifically for work purposes, and in most circumstances, that clothing is probably going to be more expensive than the casual wear that you're wearing at home. So me, I work at home, I'm working right now, but I wear these casual little sweaters. These aren't very expensive, but they are very comfortable. I don't have any work-related expenses when it comes to clothing, and if you become financially independent, then you probably won't either. So don't forget about the reduced costs that you're gonna have when you do not have any kind of work-related expenses. Now, while the main argument here is that you're gonna need less than what you originally thought for financial independence, there is one thing that you do not need less of. You actually might need more of this, and that is likes on this video. So if you're enjoying this video so far, please make sure you like the video. It really does help me out, and I really do appreciate that. We need more likes every single day. Like every video, really appreciate it. And now let's get back to it. Another thing that you might not expect that will drop dramatically is your income tax bill. This can be your federal income tax bill and your state income tax bill. But more specifically, when we're talking about your federal income tax bill, you get to pretty much control what your tax rate is going to be once you become financially independent and once you retire early. That's because you get to choose how much money you're going to take out of your investments. You get to choose how much capital gains you're going to realize. You get to choose how many dividends you're going to get, depending on what kind of your investments you're making and stuff like that. So you actually get a lot more autonomy, a lot more choice when it comes to choosing how much taxes you are going to pay, especially if you are spending less than you were when you were working. Ordinary income is what you get when you are working, and ordinary income is taxed the most of pretty much any other kind of income. However, once you transition to financial independence and early retirement, you probably are going to be living off of mostly investment income, or possibly even just retirement income from your retirement accounts. If it's a Roth IRA, then it's going to be tax-free. If it's a traditional IRA, it's going to be taxed as ordinary income, but you get to choose exactly how much you take out of that account. If it's capital gains in a regular taxable account, then you're only going to be taxed on the amount of gain that you receive, not the amount of basis that you put in. So you get a lot more control over your own tax rate once you become financially independent. And of course, if you're going to be spending less money than when your income that you were making before, when you were actually working, then you're going to be in a lower tax bracket because we have a progressive tax system. Let's go back to that example of making $80,000 per year. If you have a 10% effective tax rate, that means you pay 10% of your income in taxes. You're going to be paying about $8,000 $8,000 per year in federal income taxes. And it might be a little bit more if you're paying state income taxes. Right off the bat, that's $8,000 that you might not need in your new spending once you become financially independent, because you're not going to have that $80,000 of income anymore. You're not going to have that $80,000 of ordinary income anymore. And so your tax rate is going to be a lot less. So we can almost negate that extra $8,000 of expenses you're paying per year, which is just straight up federal income tax. But we're not done yet. There are some other things that we have to keep in mind. And one of those other things that you have to keep in mind is that your entertainment and travel spending can go down, even if you're doing more of it, even if you're traveling more, even if you are entertaining yourself more, your actual spending in those categories can go down now that you're financially independent, now that you are retired early. And here's why. You have a lot more flexibility. You get to choose when you go places. You get to choose the best dates. You get to get the best prices. And that's because you have the flexibility to go in the off season. You have the flexibility to go during the week. You get some midweek prices. You get some matinee prices. You can go on free days, like if it's for museums and things like that. So you have a lot more control over your entertainment options than someone who's working that 9 to 5, because they can only pretty much go in the evenings after work when it's more expensive, or they can go on the weekends when the prices are the most expensive. And when they're getting their vacation, it's probably when everyone else is taking their vacation, during summer, during the holidays, and things like that. So you do not have to follow that rigid schedule anymore, and therefore you get to get the best prices when it comes to entertainment and spending. And so I think that you can drastically reduce the amount of total entertainment spending and the total travel spending, even if you're actually doing more of it, even if you're entertaining yourself more, even if you are actually traveling more. I think you could theoretically reduce some of your entertainment annual expenses just because you're financially independent, just because you're retired and you have flexibility. So let's go ahead and put all of this together now. So we're gonna have someone who is pre-FIRE, someone who is making $80,000 per year, saving for financial independence, and then we're gonna have them in the scenario of they are FIRE, post-FIRE. They're financially independent and they're retired early. What does the equivalence kind of look like here in my eyes? We have the example of someone making $80,000 per year. That is their before tax, gross pay. They're saving 40% of their income for financial independence. That means that they don't technically need that extra 40%. So that was $32,000. Now they're left with $48,000 of spending per year. However, they also had a tax bill of about 10% of their gross pay. So that means that they had a tax bill of about $8,000 per year. Subtract that out from that $48,000, and now we have a $40,000 per year spending that they're gonna need in retirement. But then I think that we can reduce it even further because we have no work-related costs and we have reduced travel and reduced entertainment expense costs. I think that combined, all of those can be $10,000 less in some circumstances. So I think that the equivalent of someone working and earning $80,000 per year could be equivalent to someone spending $30,000 per year in retirement, in early financial independence, with very similar lifestyles, except for the fact that the person that is early retired has a lot more free time and has a lot more flexibility in what they do and when they do it. And if that were true, if someone only actually needed $30,000 per year before, when they were making $80,000 per year of income, gross income, then that means if they follow the 4% withdrawal rule for their retirement, should need about $750,000 worth of invested assets in order to support their lifestyle in financial independence in early retirement for a very long time. And now I want to know from you in the comments below, do you agree or do you disagree? Do you think that your FIRE number should actually be a lot less than what you might think, especially according to the traditional financial advice, that mainstream advice? Please let me know in the comments below. And then once you're done doing that, make sure you go ahead and watch another video that I made. Okay, I made another video kind of similar to this and why I think that you actually don't need $1 million or more in order to become financially independent. So watch that video if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm Zach from OnCashflow.com, and I hope to see you next time.